Map 1 went the distance, and NRG nearly had to deal with a bit of embarrassment. Although take nothing away from KUDOS, they were the real deal. A real team that surprised me, took NRG to their limits, and very nearly took their choice of map. But now, with it being 1-0 to NRG, they go across to bind their choice. And I would assume, Dust, with their choice, will be a bit more clarity, will be a bit more certainty.
I'd imagine so. I'd imagine that they would be a little bit more comfortable perhaps on their attacking side and just kind of have a better idea on how they want to approach the map. I don't think that NRG necessarily lacked for understanding the meta on the last map. I mean, it seemed like they knew how to play Haven defaults to a T. I mean, again, a lot of the North American teams approach Haven very similarly. You don't see a lot of variance on it. It's all about the mid-round decision-making and how you use the information you gain from your Sova or your Cypher to make those final calls on where you're going to execute. I think that NRG maybe just kind of suffered a bit in some of the execution in those moments. But overall, I think that like the foundation was okay. There was just a couple little blunders here and there, as well as like dealing with the aggression that KUDOS brought to the table. There was a couple of moments where they kind of struggled with that. But all in all, I mean, they were able to still get the W, which is what matters most. So I think that what we pull from that is NRG still on their way, you know, still figuring things out. But I think we were really impressed by Kohler in particular, you know, playing a duelist role now, looked good in it. And then KUDOS, impressive, you know, not a team that's, you know, had as much experience as some of the players on this NRG team have had, particularly Kohler coming over from Immortals. But, you know, had that one weekly they were able to win against some good teams like Pretty Boys and such not that long ago. And they came out swinging here today, but now it's on to different fighting grounds. So we're going to be on Bind now, Vince. Our first time covering it here on the stream today.
A map I actually absolutely love, Dust. I know that may be not necessarily what people want to hear, but I do enjoy this map. I've got to be real with you. KUDOS starting on the defensive side. Oh, pardon me, actually starting on the attacking side. No, they are starting on the defense. What am I talking about?
I don't know, Vince. I was letting you figure it out on your own. You know, I just
I got there eventually, mate.
Yeah, I was letting yourself throw yourself under the bus, and I wasn't helping lift it off of you, man. But Teddy, meanwhile, lifting NRG off the server right now with the classic inside U-Haul. Good for the hat trick already. Will he add more to it? Hira, not, you know, allowing him to get the immediate quad, but still might be hunting after at the end of the day, as Exceed is really just trying to skedaddle his way out of there. As this round will definitely be going the way of KUDOS unless Exceed does something exceedingly impressive. I don't see it happening.
It would have to be above and beyond.
Yeah.
Any of our expectations. Flicking in for the first. Runs out of bullets, runs out of health. KUDOS will take the first personal. I'm glad at least that the players are on point. If my brain is melted after that last map, at least the players are still fully here. And I will say that Teddy was pretty much the standout player in that first map for me, at least from KUDOS. He was exceptionally good, like constantly pulling off 2 or 3 Ks.
I was impressed with Jonah's breach though in that game, and I was also impressed with Hira's mechanics. Like he had really good movement with Jet. So I just want to point those 2 things out as well. We have almost mirrored compositions in this game. I mean, again, the bread and butter trio of Sova, Omen, and Cypher is like just always going to be out there for the most part, other than Split where Sova doesn't get played. But you're seeing both teams go for a Jet, and the only difference is we have a Raze on KUDOS and a Phoenix for NRG. As Kohler will be on that Phoenix, but he has already been lit up here at the fountain position, as we do see KUDOS just steamrolling through Long B here. 3 quick kills against a saving NRG. So kind of the expected result, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. It would have been quite the surprise if we saw NRG coming out the gates and actually winning this, but there was a flanking play from Exceed.
Poor Zepro, man.
We just stood there like, it was at this moment he knew he done goofed, and he was a dead man.
Yeah, it's one of those awkward moments sometimes when you're Cypher on a cam or Sova in a drone and someone just creeps up on you and gives you a nice little jump scare. But in the end, KUDOS do get the victory as you'd expect. They're going to keep the Spectres in play. We do see the Vandals out aplenty for NRG, except for the Phantom that will be on Exceed. And Daps. And this map really is either B splits with hookah control or a lot of short A plays, and Cypher is almost always used the way Exceed's using it now, which is just kind of getting information on showers and perhaps even helping control it. So this is all pretty standard stuff here from NRG.
Nothing out of the ordinary early doors, but we do start to have some buys coming in. The bot from Raze is bouncing and looking for information, but hasn't found anything just yet. However, the defense pushing out through showers. 2 players been spotted by the spy cam.
Yep.
NRG have a good idea as to what's coming up, and they may just look to play super aggressive on B as a result of that.
Absolutely. They're looking to take the way Sova, using his arrows and stuff to help them get out into long B. They've already thrown their jet up top here. It's going to be Sam, who did actually fall down, but the cage is up. Slowing them down a bit. Teddy stepping up, only good for 1, though. So Exceed and Das getting some good trades. They have the 4-on-3, and they have control of the site.
Moving into elbow as Fletcher goes in with his Spectre. 3-on-3. Still yet to be planted, though.
Yeah.
The spike needs to go down. It hasn't gone into activity just yet, and they decide to bypass with the cloudburst, try and push through, and Zebro looks for information with his sheriff, but he's punished, and now A site is ripe for the taking. What a strange turn of events.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was by design or if that was just kind of a reaction to the fact that they got that trade out on the enemy Cypher inside elbow and were able to get into back halls, but couldn't really get the pick from site. They had a player in hookah. It was their own Cypher who was unable to find a pick onto the site, and because the bulk of their forces were already back halls, they're like, well, I guess we'll just go through spawn to A. And it's worked out for them, to be fair, as they will wind up with the victory, their first one of the half thus far early on here on Bind. And yeah, again, you're seeing NRG, just as we saw on Haven, understand how default is played on the attacking side. They had their Cypher playing towards showers, they had their Sova typically using recons and drones up through long B. Typically, you're going to see your duelist being used to control into the hookah area, or at least one of them, and then just kind of play from that. And of course, you'll see your set pieces and fast splits mixed in, but this is kind of what you normally see.
Operator taken by Hira, who is looking to push down B long, trying to garner some information and maybe the opening pick. Look to annul some of the pressure that is mounting, alleviate that away. Will be tested momentarily if Cola decides to peek it. The timing is off, though. Maybe just bait it out from that recon bolt. And now a drone on top of it, missing the shot, uses the tailwind to get the hell out of there with a cloudburst. So no early casualties, but Hira missing a couple of shots that he'll feel he probably should have landed.
Yeah, so again, just kind of default attacking playing out here from NRG. They've thwarted the B aggression there. What they haven't been able to do is really get any leeway into hookah, though. They don't really have like a breach or anything in that direction to get flashes in. They could use the Omen smoke at the top of hookah in the window to help kind of isolate and get in that way, but they haven't elected to do that. They decided just to kind of fall back into short A. Their Cypher's been playing towards showers the entire time, and they know that's safe to approach, so they'll begin to make that movement, and they can set up a set piece here. The big thing here will be controlling U-Haul, trying to get that for yourself. That's going to be what we have to look out for. There is no one actively playing it right now, left. I think, here for the defense. Oh, never mind. There is indeed the Cypher there. It's going to be Teddy playing in the corner, but he's been dealt with.
Jonah, impressive breach performance in the previous map, now switching to Raze. Head removed as he is scourged across. Now they can hear the spike being planted with 8 seconds to go. Successfully gets put into position. Hira, the Overwatch AWP. Matches Phantom is the next to come into play, though, and start to deal with some of the NRG players. He goes in for another one alongside Zebro, and now Hira getting up close, switching across to the assault rifle, sprays through the smoke and gets the upper hand. But in amongst all of this, the recon darts put into play, looks to fake the spike and gets punished. EO's having none of it.
Yeah, it's a good little center take there for NRG through short A. They were able to control showers. There wasn't really any aggression from KUDOS anywhere on the A side. They were all kind of playing back. In fact, they had their Cypher playing inside pocket, which is kind of a tough spot to play when you don't really have any assistance to help you get out. It's kind of a one-and-done location, so to speak. And it just didn't really come into play the way that KUDOS were hoping for there. And now they will just be on a few sheriffs coming into this round, so a great chance for NRG to take a quick lead. So you are going to see them wasting no time for a heavy short A pressure.
Well, in comes the paint sheets, and now they're going to be looking to try and press behind this super aggressively, but Daps is just tapping himself into success. Wrapping around the back of the defenders and punishing them. Bladestorm has been put down range. KUDOS looking to try and get in amongst the action in this round, but it's all a ruse. They start off on the A site. They quickly take the teleporter and head over onto B via hookah. Teddy using the cloudburst There's a bit of Sanctuary trying to get up close. Can hear the spike going down. May get the drop on the spike carrier. Looking for more, but EU is up to the task and deals with him accordingly. Hunter's Fury put into place. Nullifies Cola. Could be going in for another one unless they're careful. And with both the ults up and activated, still in play, Hera is now the next player that can spring into action and start to deal with some of these threats. One of the blades goes past the head. And Exceed is now coming around the back, but Zebro takes him off the table. 30 seconds to play with. EU is kind of stuck out of position. He now needs to use the teleporter again to go back to the A side of the map. KUDOS must be dizzy how much they've been spinning, rotating backwards and forwards.
NRG must be confused how this round hasn't been going their way. Basically, one stone unturned on the crate inside B site ruined them, but here we see Hera smartly stays behind on B, will be there to perfectly pick up on EU, trying to transition back through hookah. Well played from KUDOS. They did all the right things. They had a great Hunter's Fury, which got a frag and stopped the spike plant. Again, we did see that Teddy was able to play inside the Cloudburst of Container. It is a mistake of NRG to not have cleared that out before going for the spike plant. But again, credit where credit's due to KUDOS for doing all that they could to win a round that they didn't really have much invested in. A nice thrifty round, as the game would say. And now they are up against a ill-equipped NRG. They have the operator in Hera's hands, full rifles for everyone else, and they're looking to, you know, build up this lead very early on.
Number of times where NRG have been ambushed. As you said, that was a bit of an oversight on their point. They had still had plenty of time left when the spike plant was dropped down from the scampering Teddy player. They have spotted players up on the B-long side. Raze popping out the ultimate, just completely eviscerating Cola. Up close, Daps goes down and Fletcher with a double spray. Teddy also activating in for one. And although EU gets himself a shock dart kill, and indeed the ghost frag on top of it, it feels like a drop in the bucket because KUDOS still have 3 to stand against him.
Yeah, I mean, when you're KUDOS and you know you're up against an ecoing NRG, and you know that the only real firepower they have is the Blade Storm of Sam, and then you gut check through a smoke with your dart, and you find that person, you know for a fact that you know exactly where they're going to be attacking. They could easily position the players where they needed to. That was a really good use of the drone. A nice little dart through the smoke to get the confirmation, and then they roll it into a pretty swift victory. So it is going to be 4-2 to the good of KUDOS. NRG able to get back onto the bye, however. Full rifles across the board. Sam and Kohler have yet to really get going here on this map 6 rounds in, as they're kind of the heavy hitters of this team, to be honest. Or at least that's how the team's designed to be, and we saw Kohler doing great things in the first map, so hopefully they can get going here if you're an NRG fan. So they are going to open up pretty default on NRG here, but putting a little bit more emphasis on the shower side.
Cypher Cage has been triggered.
Oh, wow.
And then Teddy pushes through his own Cypher Cage to just destroy Cola, vanquishing him in the process, dropping the neural theft and getting information for the rest of the troops on NRG. And right off the back of being multiple rounds lost in a row, getting a buy into effect and instantly just being repelled. But the neural theft goes both ways. Now it's Exceed's turn to find out the information. Spike plant, post plant comes into play, but it will be NRG that find themselves a player behind.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough ask of NRG, but they're trying to make it happen. As a good use of Exceed's neural threat to at least give them some information to work with on this retake that's coming at them from KUDOS. Jonah, though, big kill onto Sam in the U-Haul. Now it is even harder for NRG to hold off this.
Hunter's Fury waiting a little bit longer. Oh, he was trying to prime that to deal with the defusal. You could see what EU was going for, but he just got pushed down. Very well played from KUDOS. And not only did they win the round here, Dust, they win it with 4 people alive.
You know
this
they
is
have
getting
to
out of
be
control.
Fuming that Teddy pushed that cage. There's no way NRG could have expected that. Teddy gets 2 huge kills in showers there. That really is what kept KUDOS a step ahead throughout pretty much that entire round. And now NRG, yet again, even with the spike plan, have to just sit back on Spectres and a Bulldog on Exceed. It's far from ideal, but still effective firepower. They're going to be going way heavier-handed at B this time. I think they really want to get into hookah fast. They want to use Silva's recon up long B, maybe even a tailwind out of their jet, and they want to just hit this B side as fast as they can. Problem is, Here's going to be contesting it directly with this operator. And they have the intel with that.
Cloudburst not exactly ideal, but that paranoia is good. Very good. It actually forces them back and forces them into the arms of Cola. And it's the two Spectres that open up things onto the site. Now Fletcher tries to hold the line. He gets himself 2 in quick retaliation. And these back and forths have put us down into a 2-on-2, and the firepower may be in favor of KUDOS, but they've lost the first player in this encounter, and they've lost both. A thrifty win now goes the way of NRG.
Yeah, there was so much focus on KUDOS at Long B, and a couple of missed op shots from Hira allows the NRG Owl Drone to make more progress and confirm that it's basically a double Long B defensive setup, which means that Hookah was right for the taking and Kohler was there to make use of it. Kind of opened up the whole site with his maneuvering through that position. That's going to get Energy a third round. It's been a bit of a drought from them, but they finally respond to try to keep the score close. And now they will go back to just kind of playing the standard 2-2-1 default opening towards Long B, Hookah, and Cypher soloing out the showers. Again, here looking to be aggressive with this operator at Long B. Mixed results so far, I have to say, from him in this spot. And he's been found out by the Recon Bolt.
Gotta wonder what's going on inside the minds of NRG. Firm favorites. Wow. Out the gates fast, and it's Teddy again with the opening pick. How many times have we said that? He has been phenomenal over these 2 maps. Even the map they lost, he was up there. And now he will get pressured, forced back. Jonah, the bomb buddy, goes into effect, but won't be hitting anybody. It's just to make sure that Lamps is under control.
Yeah, good use of the drone there from Energy to clear out pocket and start putting pressure on U-Haul. The jet, though, went through Portal. I don't know if that was on accident or not, and it kind of slowed everything down for them at Short A. And now they had to kind of just reset and regroup. They still have time, but it is dwindling. They don't really have any presence, though. Like, they're just still all at the back of Short A. They have Sova still at Fountain outside B. Time's running low. Depending on what Sova finds at Long B, they could port back over to Hookah and still split this B side, or they're going to go for the A push. And they do get into U-Haul thanks to Kohler's run it back. That's a big clear.
15 seconds, though, Dust. 15 seconds, and it may get denied. In the last couple of milliseconds, Teddy denies the spike plant. And now someone else has to run over and go for the plant again, and in the meanwhile, it could get sprayed down through the Cypher cage. It's successful, but the spike plant was just planted in time. And now EU in a 1-on-3 spinning around. Oh my god! That 4K from EU is unreal!
Oh my god, EU might as well be a deity that Energy is praying to at the end of tonight, because there's no way they should have run that round. I mean, they did a great job using Kohler's run it back to clear out U-Haul, but they had no idea that they had Teddy still to worry about lurking in the showers, who deny the plant, really got that down to a buzzer beater situation, and then it put EU in an unthinkable clutch situation where surely he should be walking away with the L, but somehow pulls it off with some quick flicks. He's up to 14 frags. He's leading the server. And he is somehow keeping Energy in the hunt with a round like that. That's incredible. I can't believe I've just witnessed that.
An integral moment in the game with everything stacked against NRG, but can KUDOS weather that disappointment, or is this NRG second wind? They have lost the first player, but it's at the cost of the spike getting planted, and they'll take that trade. What can they do with it? Neural theft in the meanwhile. In amongst all the chaos is now given across information, which is valuable in its nature. Teddy continues to just rip through NRG with devastating rates, disintegrating the defending Planter team now. Exceed goes in for 1. The cage is sprung, but now it's all down to EU. He just picked off a crazy 1v4. It's unreasonable to expect that he's going to rinse and repeat that. And that's the problem, Dust. If they don't have mega plays like that, it seems like they're the second best team right now.
I mean, yeah, from all the Valorant we've watched so far between map 1 and now, yeah, Energy did win the first map, but there were a lot of times where it seemed like it was reliant upon kind of crazy plays. Even the one round that they won just moments ago was based off a crazy clutch from EU. So I would say KUDOS seems to more consistent when it comes to composure throughout how the rounds are being played from a strategical standpoint. But Energy certainly do have the firepower and the moxie to pull some things off here and there. So We'll have to see. My problem is I haven't been impressed by their playbook. It seems like they don't have much more than just playing off of default and maybe a couple of simple set pieces. I'm sure they don't want to show everything this early on in the tournament, and that could be a part of it. But I was kind of expecting more considering the brain power behind this team with Chet in the coach position, that's being a seasoned in-game leader from Counter-Strike. I just would have thought they'd be a bit cleaner on some of these attacking rounds.
Still have time to at least tie up come the second half. But a lot of these attack sides have certainly been scrappy, to put it kindly. Take nothing away from KUDOS, though. These guys have been playing stellar.
Yeah, Teddy's been an absolute monster. He's playing Cypher in a way that I'm not used to seeing as far as how assertive he's been able to be. Unfortunately, it's been a caster's curse in this round, hasn't it? EU's found him out with the Stinger, and here comes that B press.
Bulldog. Will it have more bark or bite? Well, it seems like it may very well be the former rather than the latter, because KUDOS are being pretty convincingly slapped aside. Spike plant down. KUDOS may think about saving these two guns, although Zebro's in a very compromised position. There's no easy way out here. But you can see from Hira's position, I don't think he has any interest in actually going for this. So it seems to me that KUDOS will try and slip away. Cloudburst put down to afford them the luxury of saving. Tapping through, Som has the right idea, but can't quite connect the dots. And out comes Daps, who gets punished by Hira's overlooking operator. And in doing so, well, NRG will have a fifth at least.
Yeah, right when it matters most, you're starting to see NRG figure some things out on this attacking side. They're going to find themselves yet another with one more round left to go in the hat that puts them up to 5. And I will say, Bind is one of the maps that is often a little bit more defensive-sided. I mean, I would say all the maps are fairly balanced. I don't think you could exaggerate one side over the other. I know Haven sometimes favors attacking side because there's 3 sites. I know that, you know, Split can obviously be fairly defensive. And this map, I think, is fairly even, but definitely could drift a bit defensively. So the fact that NRG have 5 rounds, and considering that they had such a cold start, you know, being down 2-5, having won 3 of the last 4 and 1 round still to go, they're definitely having a nice little recovery here. EU's been very impressive. Exceed's starting to come into his own. I still haven't really seen Kohler and Som come alive, though, the way that I would have thought. I think that's what's going to happen defensively for them to make sure they get the 2-0 in the series. Meanwhile, KUDOS seems like much more of a equal distribution of impact.
Oh, you just touched on him, but Kohler's had a bit of a quiet game so far. He does get the first. I feel like a lot of his impact was on the defense side as well, on Haven. Going for those flank and opportunistic kind of plays. Neural Theft comes into play, run it back also. Even though the boombot comes in, there's a beautiful grenade tossed in, and there's another one. This time, though, it's the ult from Jonah's Raze. Looking to raise NRG to the ground on their endeavors as they push in. So many wallbang frags come in. They're giving as good as they take. KUDOS still maintain the player advantage. Molly comes down, but the flashbang is so good. And Fletcher making the most of it. This leaves it all on Daps. He has control of the spike. It will be post-plant. 1v3. Can he go where EU went before him? Can he clutch what feels like an impossible moment? And there's the first. He comes in for a second, but can't quite get the triple spray. But it was so close to coming up again.
Yeah, too close for comfort almost there for KUDOS, but they will win it. They will win 7-5, and I have to say that the bulk of the reason why they won that round is how well they countered the run it back from Kohler. The paint shell and boombot combo from Jonah basically riddled Kohler's ult useless. And I think that's what basically just shut NRG down from ever making an A attack come to fruition, and helps KUDOS maintain the lead as we take a little bit of a look here from GoPuff on some of the highlights here from the first half. And, well, no surprise, Teddy was the one to kick things off, and really no surprise to see KUDOS continue to be impressive, Vince.
Yeah, I've kind of been blown away. I came into this game thinking that NRG wouldn't necessarily walk it, like, super easily, but it would be a pretty comprehensive victory. The fact that first map went down to 13-10, and this is dead even going through into the second half, or at least it feels that way. Obviously, with a slight lead. I think it's just boding so well for them. Wall down. Owl drone has been dealt with, and now in comes Som. Updrift trying to get up close. That's Fletcher, who started off on Haven, remember, with a crazy 2K. Everything going against NRG again. Down to a 2-on-4, and they've lost control over A. They have to give it up.
Yeah, it was one of those great in theory, not so well done in practice there from NRG on that aggression through short A with the Phoenix and Jet combo, clearing things out and getting intel, but not being able to win their duels. And now they are well behind this round, trying to retake. Daps coming in through showers. Let's see if they can try to make something happen, but it just seems so unlikely.
Exceed has the ghost. Ooh, missing out narrowly. That looked like it may have even been a headshot, but it doesn't really matter as Jonah putting down Daps on the Omen. 8-5, 3-round lead already.
Yeah. Really well done here from KUDOS, trying to keep that 3-map dream alive, which we know how important that is, considering this is a single elimination bracket. There is no safety net. There is no room for error. If you're unable to reach that top 16, you're not making the closed qualifier. And so in a tournament with no second chances, it puts even more pressure in a map 2 scenario. And here's the other thing. When you have a raise, this is the bank shot you're going to see time and time again with that Boombot Vince. It's so useful at clearing out hookah. That's the difference between using a Phoenix Flash to get hookah control and then having a raise that just has great utility to be attacking this really small area of the map. There comes the paint shell as well.
Good crossfire that's been established in hookah. KUDOS smoking out NRG pretty significantly, though. You can see 2 of their players are actually exceptionally low, but Daps still holding on with the classic of all weapons. Putting KUDOS in an awkward position. They still have control of the spike. They've lost control elsewhere. Not entirely sure as to whether a player is pushing around the back of A through showers. But now they're using the teleporter to try and get up close around catwalk of short side and try and push in. But they have to deal with the oncoming attackers. Now in the form of NRG, the roles have reversed, and it's a bit of a massacre. It goes heavily in favor of KUDOS, but in amongst all of this chaos, they have drawn over Daps and Omen to A, but KUDOS have correctly decided to hit B instead. And so this position from Daps left means absolutely nothing.
And will he even really expect a Cypher to be sitting inside of a spawn if he decides to transition over?
Spike planted.
He puts a smoke down to try to throw some uncertainty over on the B site, but in reality, KUDOS knows exactly what they're up against, and they, like you said, have a heavy advantage in this post plant. Not really a whole lot Daps can do here. He will take the teleporter over towards hookah side. He's got the Bulldog. He's got a little bit of time. One smoke and a couple of teleports to go.
Dark Cloud onto the site, taking damage though straight away. Dropped exceptionally low, and I think at this point he knows his days are numbered, so he tries to piece out of that. At least save the Bulldog. It gives you something to play with in the next round, but that will be KUDOS. 9-5 in the lead, and NRG in real trouble.
Yeah, I think the moment that he realized that his smoke didn't capture the bomb, he knew that he had to just get out of there, or spike rather. I mean, it's one of those things where he basically put his smoke on one of the most common planning locations for a spike, but was wrong, and so couldn't really kind of threaten the ninja defuse, I guess you could say. And so it's another round to KUDOS, building up that lead. Economy still,
Yes, this should do.
I guess, lacking for KUDOS in the sense of overall firepower, but obviously they're still in the driver's seat, taking a bonus round. Finally, the buyout from NRG here. This is a big test for NRG. I feel like they need this round to stay in the race of this map too.
Feels that way. Look at EU as well, by the way. 17 kills. Nearest player on his team's on 9.
Yeah.
And
Meanwhile, look at the other distribution. KUDOS, I think it's like 13 on their top frag or 10 on their bottom or something like that. It's so close.
Lamps are hotbeds of action, but it's Exceed that comes out ahead. Somewhat of a bonus round on KUDOS. And so far, they have been impaired and subdued on their way across. The spy cam doing so much work for Cypher. But Teddy, again, who else? Stepping up when KUDOS need a hero. Stepping up when they need a talisman. Fletcher suppressed by Cola. NRG regain the player advantage, but they have got to do the best of converting this. And not just converting it, Dust, but keeping players alive. If they lose a ton, that could very well cost them in the end. But Daps and Exceed both straight through with headshots. And Teddy, the man that we've been keeping an eye on the other side of the map, looking to just save his picked up weapon.
So a first big test on the defense from Energy has been passed. I thought they were in a bit of trouble. I thought KUDOS was doing a pretty good job putting that pressure on U-Haul, again, showing you the power of Raze's utility in those small rooms like Hookah, like U-Haul, where the boom bot and the paint shell can really either do a lot of damage or do a great job, you know, pushing players out of position and gaining space for yourself to set up attacks. Weren't able to quite put the pieces together, though, that round. Energy did a great job holding it off, and now they have a little bit more room to work with all of a sudden. We are going to see KUDOS lining up for a heavy A pressure right off the bat. No presence on B side of the map this time. They're looking to just chase that drone and try to get out into open space in the A site. Great paranoia, though.
Yeah, that was a good paranoia, but Cola... how aggressive he is right now with this run it back. He comes out second best, but he does get intel.
Yep.
Now, whether he saw a second player there, I don't think he saw Teddy in showers.
Between that run it back and the counter paranoia, it's really put KUDOS' attack up short A to a screeching halt, but now look at this little jump they've done onto the truck. They've been able to get a lot of space, and look at the repercussions. The huge entries come in.
Huge entries, and it might be a huge round behind it. A soul destroyer, an economy breaker, a shackles maker, perhaps. Exceed stuck behind the dark cover. Cola has not been handicapped by any utility as of yet, but still needs to tag team his partner back into play if they're going to pull this one off. The showstopper in play, but Exceed through the wall gets a second. Neural theft for the last player. They know exactly where Fletcher is. They dealt with him. That will be a successful retake, and Exceed with a 4K.
Did Jonah jump into a tripwire with the showstopper? Is that what happened? If so, that is so unfortunate, because you think when the showstopper comes out that it well and truly will stop the whole round. It will turn it on its head. You know, yeah, they had to worry about U-Haul being taken over by Kohler. You know, the retake was well and truly on shore, but they had the main advantage, and they had a big ult coming out from Jonah that should have at least guaranteed one frag there in the end. And with that, you would think that's the insurance policy needed to secure the round, but instead they get absolutely nothing with it. The tripwire comes heavily into play there, and Energy somehow pulled that off despite the huge disadvantage, and now they have KUDOS saving. They're right on their heels all of a sudden, Vince. And the bank shot of the boombot will come out to clear out this hookah position.
Blade Storm primed, ready for action. Paranoia connecting onto Cola. But a good counteractive curveball keeps them at bay for a little bit longer. As you said, though, it is an eco. Cola has to go forward. He can't afford to go back, as the paint shell was just behind him. 3v2, KUDOS, sorry. Now stuck in hookah. They do have control, at least, of the spike.
Yep.
And they have a Blade Storm of their own.
And they picked up a Vandal. So, I mean, they have a little bit of firepower to work with here. Here kind of puts like an unintentional one-way up to, with that smoke, unfortunately, which helps Exceed just kind of peek out from the back halls there and forces Hira all by his lonesome. He's picked up an operator, trying to dance around the site and see if he can't pick up something and try to open up the floodgates of the round, but so far nothing coming his way. Daps will, with the crossfire there in the back halls, put the finishing touches on the round, and Energy now all of a sudden one round away from tying this up and keeping the 2-0 dream well and truly alive. We are going to see how KUDOS want to set up here to kick off this round. You can see that they are once again setting Raze up to try to get that hookah control. They do have Sova and another duelist looking to probably take control of Long B. And then they do have their Cypher positioning over towards Showers. Again, very standard way to open the round. But as I say that, Sova and Ohm actually peel off to go towards short A. So it's just going to be Raze trying to attack in the hookah.
Maybe playing a bit of interference. Try and keep them busy. Maybe try and catch them as they rotate into the teleporter. Or away from the teleporter. Now Jonah with the Vandal headshots, kicking off the round. And keep in mind that was pretty much NRG waiting for that play, and they still fell prey to it. So, yeah, really brutal.
Definitely brutal to see Kohler just trying to do a solo aggro effort out hookah and get shut down. A one-way smoke will get put up by Energy here on the double stack box of short A to try to give an advantage on a duel that might take way through this alley, but as you can see, KUDOS are not biting on that. They'll wait for it to fade before they begin their approach, and now they are starting to form up for an A split. Their Cypher will solo out through Showers, the rest coming through short A. The one-way smoke deployed again from Energy. on that double stack box once more. Again, it's so hard to feel confident pushing through that, so they'll wait once more before they set up their own smokes for the attack. And then the real test will come for NRG. What can they do against a 5-on-4 full execute on this A
30
side?
seconds left.
Made the right read. They've sent over the bulk of their defense over onto A, but it's what they do behind this. The timing could not have been sweeter, and Dabs with the sprays on point. It's actually a shock dart that kills him. And now EO up in heaven with the Hunter's Fury alongside him, denies the bomb plant. 12 seconds to go. Tapping the bomb again, going back into the default position. 8 seconds. There's no one that can stop this plant. And now they need to come together and make something special happen. Som's had a bit of a quiet game so far. He's one of the 2 remaining players.
Oh, wow.
And EU's doing all the work in the meanwhile with the Vandal. Jonah back to the wall, quite literally. Multiple angles to cover by himself. Vandal in hand, making noise, just praying for the best. Recon dart comes out, and there's Som getting up close with the shotty.
So well done for NRG. As you said, they got a great rotation in for the retake, despite being a man down, and EU just had so much impact. Not only did the Hunter's Fury deny the bomb plan a couple of different times there, it also was this moment where EU found a timing to slip down from A heaven undetected, and it really caught KUDOS off guard. They were sure that he was still in that window, and so when he swung around the default box, they were not prepared for that angle. They were not ready for that duel, and it came back to crush them as EU continues to have such a big game. He's up to 20 now. 14 apiece for Exceed and that, so a couple of his teammates have started to wake up. And while Som's been overall quiet, he had a big round there. Great use of Jet and the Shorty to lock in the round and tie up the game at 9 apiece.
Well, the Shorty dealing the fatal damage to the boombots. Does buy up a little bit of time and a bit of space. Som shooting between the 2 of them, honestly, in another day, that's almost a guaranteed kill. Puts them in a great position for NRG, but instead they lose hookah control.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world if you're NRG losing that. Against a Raze, it's very hard to maintain between the boombot and the paint shell. It's so hard to sit in that room. You're going to take damage. You're going to be put in an unadvantageous duel with the boombot. But look at this, Exceed just walks out and somehow still doesn't get the frag. There was so much focus from KUDOS on short that Exceed got free reign, but couldn't do anything. But now that's on the flank, could be the one that gets the job done. Indeed, he does, even at least back up.
His position revealed, has to wait this one out, being encircled by KUDOS players, and it's Fletcher now puts him down. Will pulverize not just him, but potentially NRG. 3-on-3 retake, 30 seconds to play with, spike planted. More than enough time for NRG to rummage together a master plan. They need to put on a clinic and be pristine on their endeavors for this retake. It's such an integral moment, a fulcrum point in this game. Bladestorm has been elected. NRG want to try and retake with knives alongside them. Jet needs to get up close. Cola coming in from the side, spotting multiple players towards the lamp, but he can't quite get it done. The showstopper was brought into action, but he got neutralized instantly afterwards, and Hera spins up into play. The bomb gets tapped, the spike tapped for a little bit before E goes back in, but it won't be another clutch. He's already got one too many on this site. He gets neutralized, and KUDOS take the lead again.
I was concerned for KUDOS. That was the second time that Jonah's showstopper gets absolutely nothing, and I really worried that that was going to open the door for NRG to pull off the victory, but not quite. Hera holds on, pushes it to 10-9, and now things get tense once more. All of a sudden, this game is very much up for grabs. Again, KUDOS Tournament Live on the line, though. NRG have the 3-map safety net, having won the first map on Haven 13-10. And so this is a real big round. We are going to see Kohler able to pick up the orb, and now it opens up the door for him to run it back when he so chooses.
So tense with so much on the line. Qualifies for first strike, beckoning for both teams. NRG, 1 map to the good in our round of 64. Now run it back has been deployed. Phoenix doesn't get much from that in the hands of Cola. New, though, goes in on Teddy. Big pick. One of the main stars on KUDOS has been sent packing momentarily. The bulk of the defense over on B. 4 players strong over here. This leaves a lot of pressure over on A. Hands of Jets.
Yep. Really just trusting in Som to solo hold it, and why the hell not whenever they're able to just take these duels at long B and win all of them. Really great use here of their utility and positioning to just absolutely pounce on KUDOS, who have just been running their heads up against a brick wall on this B side. They had hookah control. They were trying to get up B to split, but they can never really find their footing here. Fletcher gets a couple back, sure, but only to have Som rotate into the back halls for an easy operator frag to tie this thing right back up. And money reset now for KUDOS. Right back to just a $1,900 loss bonus, which is going to equate to pretty much diddly squat this round, Vince, if we're honest. Looks like they do actually force up what they can here onto Zebro, who will have the... Never mind. Sells it back, gets the Guardian, sells that back, gets a Sheriff. All right, they're a little bit indecisive, but now it seems like they finally settled on just getting the pistols.
This is gonna be fun.
So yeah, Sheriff and Ghost up against Assault Rifles and an Operator. Best of luck, KUDOS. In terms of their ults, not too many of them are going to be available either. So this should be a chance for NRG to get themselves in the lead and a couple steps away from securing this best of 3. They've got the first. Teddy's gone down first off. Good news. Ooh, interesting from Som. Actually blinding away the camera, the recon bolt there. Oh, they do have an ult. Hera's got himself the Blade Storm, and you feel like if they're going to win this round, it needs to be Hera doing damage, but he misses everything with the right click. And with that miss, the round will be falling into position. They do get a spike plant. It's not too shabby, but that's all they're going to get from it.
Yeah, between the 2-round loss bonus and the spike plant, they should have a decent buy coming up in this next round, but it'll basically be their last real chance. NRG are knocking on the door of map and series point right now. They've real and truly found momentum on their defense. They've won 5 of the last 6 rounds played. Make that 6 of the last 7 with that victory just now. Other than winning the pistol and the following anti-eco, KUDOS have yet to really be able to find success on this attacking side. They've had a couple of close calls, to be fair, but nothing consistent. Other than their frag distribution, that is still quite tight. 16 at the top, 14 at the bottom. Definitely still very much in this game, but this is the round they must win.
Yeah, it was a nail biter over on Haven, and so far Bind has been much more of the same, and it's Som now shifting through the gears. He had a slow start, but he's starting to do a bunch of damage. But Som's now been dealt the fatal blow. Daps comes in with the Phantom. He's traded out by Hera. It's Carnage, it's Chaos, and it's a post plant.
Spike planted.
Spike down. Now NRG with Exceed and EU. EU, of course, is their top fragger. He's been having a stellar performance. But moving in from awkward positions, revealing the area with the recon bolt, instantly gets destroyed. Exceed now goes to the wide swing, down to the hands of Hera, and there's a good crossfire. The second that EU comes around this corner, he may get one, but there's no way he's getting both of them. We're tied up again.
Indeed, 11 all, down to the wire here with KUDOS Tournament Life on the line. Can NRG keep the 2-0 dream afloat? They will still be fully bought out here, including Som on the operator, who's been finding some opening picks lately, as you noted. 4 rifles in play for KUDOS. Cannot afford to get reset again, though, Vince, in my opinion. If that were to happen, Fletcher and Zebra would basically have no credits to spend as NRG go for the victory. So they really need to get this one too. They're not out of the woods yet. That was a big victory, but there's still that economic reset looming in the shadows that could come back to haunt them.
Oh, this Hunter's Fury is massive. It catches 2 of them stuck in a close claustrophobic angle, and they make the most of it. Fletcher and Zebro spring in, and now Fletcher's got a second. Not only will they not get reset more than likely, but they could be a step away from taking the second map. It comes down to NRG with 2 in the versus 4. The spike plant is in effect, and it's on the other side of the map. It's on B. They've been complete and utter dummy, and they fell for it.
That was so well done from KUDOS. Just a well-orchestrated round through and through. Took it and never really looked back, and now they will be at map point, as you said. They will avoid the economic reset. They will maintain 4 weapons. NRG will save what they can here in the attacking spawn. But it's all going to come down to one final round. We haven't had an overtime yet, Vince, but we could very well get one. If those of you who don't know us from Counter-Strike, Vince and I are like this known as the overtime duo. We get so many overtime games on that game. And we might get it here on Valorant. Which, you know what? I'm down. Sign me up.
Match point.
I'm certainly alongside with you on that one. Whether it'll happen or not, it's yet to be seen, because honestly, KUDOS could very well just outright win this. Could be easily a third map.
Yeah. They are definitely looking hot to trot right now, that's for sure. They've won 3 of the last 5. They've won the last 2 in a row. They're knocking on the door of a 13th round to force that map 3, which, if we get to that point, that would be our first time really seeing a series go the distance and really close games involved in it as well. Next map would be Split.
Some aggression. Cola getting up close. Was the run it back, of course, so he gets teleported back onto the A side where 3 players reside.
Yep.
4th player now will be making moves over. That's Som to join on the B side of the map.
Yeah, it's a great use of it to get early information. You can also see some teams use Sova Owl drones through the teleporter for that same thing, or maybe even a boom bot. All the same effect, just getting that early knowledge of whether or not they're going for a heavy hookah take or not. If they're not, you can, feel pretty confident that your short A defense is in the right place.
Wall bang headshot onto Hera. Maybe we are headed to overtime yet. They're getting clobbered and impaired on the push, but Teddy, who else? Gets him with one. Jonah battling back for a second, and suddenly the advantage now falling in favor of KUDOS. Teddy watching from the cross angle. EU joined alongside Som. Bladestorm has been opted for. Teddy's position will be known. Oh, he's missed the Bladestorm, and that could be the round, and that could be the map that goes with it. NRG now only have themselves 1 player to go for. Up against 3. EU might get picked off at range, but now Som's position is compromised, and there goes Zebro. That's going to be all she wrote. We're going to head to Split after all, Dust. KUDOS have done it.
Indeed, they have. Both these maps have been so very close. There's been so many momentum shifts throughout this series, and we've been impressed by KUDOS all the way through for their efforts, and now it finally pays off. It gets them to a map victory. It keeps them afloat in this qualifier, and as you said, it takes us into our first map 3 of the qualifier here on the main stream, and I'm excited because I want to catch some more Valorant anyhow. So what better way to do it than a close game between, NRG team that on paper, is supposed to be the favorite. They had the big organizational support behind them at NRG, which is a huge brand in esports, up against a, KUDOS team who, outside of, an online weekly cup victory against a couple of pretty solid teams, we didn't really know much about them. But they've come out here, they've come out swinging, and they have really been on point, and I'm so happy to see this go a third map.
As am I, Dust, and as I'm sure the audience is too, but you'll have to wait a little bit longer before we get to those sacred grounds of Split. First, we'll be cutting to a very short break.